Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geek Out Loud. My name's Steve Glosson. So glad to be along with you. Half of my face is in shadow, the other half in light. But that's backwards. Half of my face is in shadow, the other half is in light. And that's what you've got going on. Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you with us. C.W. Walker's here in the chat. Cam Hopman's here in the chat. And we are excited to have everyone who would join us live at YouTube to celebrate over 200 subscribers. I believe last I checked, we're at 220 something. And so I want to say thanks to everyone. I have spent this evening kind of cannibalizing things in the room here to try to have a setup that's going to be a little bit better. Obviously, you don't want to sit here and look at me the whole time because I am the Sasquatch of podcasting. Look at me, big, hairy, ugly, probably smell funny right now, but that's fine. That's fine. We have something fun we're going to do. I have actually set up a little light box here. That's a much better, clearer channel than what you'd normally have, than what you've got coming from the one camera. I'm working a 2-camera system here. I think that's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of myself that I got it rocking and rolling, and this is going to revolutionize the way we do back to the wax packs and everything. I'm really excited about how we're rolling here. Now, obviously, this is still not professional. I still suck with lighting and camera stuff and everything, but that's okay. So glad to have everyone along with us, and you won't have to look at me very long. I want to show you, if I can, exactly what we've got going here. This is literally just a box full of stuff that has been sitting over on a shelf that needs to be gone through. And there's all kinds of, I mean, look, it's going to be junk for the most part, but we're going to go through it tonight. That's kind of what we're going to do, is we're going to go through the box O stuff as a celebratory 200th or 200 subscriber kind of fun time, happy fun time joy of things. So, unfortunately, it's just going to be me talking. I guess I could pull up some of the we're going to see. Here's the thing: we're going to find out if I get copyright stricken for the intro theme or not on this particular video. And what does it matter if we do? The channel's not monetized anyway. For that, we want to say, because of that, we want to say thanks to everyone who supports us at Patreon. Patreon.com/GeekOutLoudJV says, we're here to watch Superman and the Hulk's wedding. Well, it does look like they're holding hands, doesn't it? Let's come back to that. Hold on. It does look like they're holding hands. Hold on just a second. Let's, Hulk, I want you to calm down, buddy. Everything's going to be okay. Hulk happy. Hulk friend with Superman. These are very tall figures, these guys. They stand, well, Superman's actually, well, he's a little bit off the ground down here. This is a Christopher Reeve, I don't know if Mego made this or who made this, but it's meant to be the Christopher Reeve Superman. This is one, both of these items actually belong to my brother, who's no longer with us. And they've kind of been floating around in my stuff for ages now. Superman had some pants problems a while back, and my mother-in-law actually is a doll collector, and so she did the work of actually sewing up Superman's britches for him. But it's so old, there's runs in this thing in different parts of his costume. The cape, whoops, sorry about that. The cape is frayed. Let's see if we can get up on him there. The cape, you can see, is frayed. The likeness isn't that great, and the side of his head is caved in. The side of his neck is caved in, but it's actually a really cool piece. Very, really, the legs are kind of wonky, and nothing holds up with him. He is quite old. But I mean, what, 32 years, 42 years now, 1978, 79, when Superman the movie came out. He's a result of that. This Hulk, however, is around the same age, maybe a little bit older. This is the Mego. This is not the Mego Hulk like when you think of Mego figures that you would think of. This Hulk is actually, it is Mego made, but it's a taller one. It's the 13-inch, I think, or 12-inch Mego Hulk. Actually, the pin system, everything's a little bit better than what the regular size Mego is. He is missing his shirt. Hulk came with like a white tattered shirt, but he's still got the rope that's supposed to hold his pants up, even though it's not doing the best job in the world. This is a really cool figure, and he actually, I don't really need that doll stand to have him stand up. He actually can kind of stand on his own. This is one of my more favorite things in my collection, just because, as you know, I love the Hulk, and to have this is just such a cool piece, and it's really well preserved. You know, for the most part, like I say, it's missing that shirt, but a very, I really dig this Hulk. He's one of my favorite things that I've got as far as Hulk collectibles go. This thing just keeps it keeps trying to go further and further down. Working with not great technology on the Geek Out Loud 200 celebratory. So what do we got here? Running tights always. Yeah, always gets runs in the tights. So Chewy's Canteen, a good friend Lucas says, the box has sat undisturbed for nearly 2 years. That's true, and that is actually, it hasn't been undisturbed. There's just been things that would randomly get thrown into it, that sort of thing. So anyhow, this is to celebrate 200 plus subscribers, and I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel. We've had a great time, but also we've had new, oh wow, I should keep the light on the screen here because it lights me up better. Not that you need to see me, because Lord knows I am not pretty. But we want to welcome Greg Rimmer, not Greg now, Greg Rimmer, who will be getting, I mean, like, that's a superhero name. So we'll be updating the Golaverse Wall of Fame very soon, and we'll be adding that name to it. Matt, just Matt, has come on to the Patreon at patreon.com/geekoutloud. That Geek Evan, welcome, sir. That Geek Evan has joined up with us, as well as returning Jay Coker, old cattle boss out there. Joining back up with us on the Patreon. We thank everyone so much for being a part of the Patreon community and helping us out at patreon.com/geekoutloud. And if you want to join up, there's multiple tiers that you can join up with. We have posted this past week's Big Honkin' Show, about 20 minutes up front, very controversial on that, and then from there, we just jump into some fun and some stories about the anniversary and that sort of thing. So we actually, Chip Orlikowski, mood lighting for you, Steve. Yeah, it really is kind of mood lighting. And I've tried to do some things with some lighting, try to do some cheap lighting, but to no avail, so to speak, as I look at this situation. But I'll pull that back up and make me all pretty again. Hi, guys. So, look, I don't have a lot to talk about, I guess. Of course, I can Google things as I need to. Lights have been pretty cheap. Grab one at Walmart on sale for $40. It's great. I might try to do that. Thank you, JV, for that suggestion. How many hours do you need for Super Chats? Well, I think you've got to have like 1,000 subscribers and 1,000 hours, maybe something like that. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one day it'll happen. Who really knows? Cam says, digging the vintage collection off to the side. Yeah, these are just some back, oh, gee whiz, 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It would have been 3 years ago. I basically sold, I had a great run of the vintage collection from when they started really rocking it. And just finances being what they were, I had to sell them off. And those were a source that I could actually get some money off of. I wasn't scalping. I put them out there for, at a reasonable, like, starting bid, for people who wanted to bid on them, and then, was able to make some good money on them. I had some of the more rare ones, the Ahsoka, was one that someone spent out the nose for, which I don't understand. And then I was able to turn around and get Ahsoka, that same Ahsoka figure, just in a black box with a red background at Walmart on those Walmart exclusive Black Series 3 3/4 inch. It's not the same as having on a vintage card and able to display like this. I love the way the vintage cards display. I love the feeling I get when I look at them, and especially ones like they've got a lot that were never made on a vintage card. Like there's a Darth Maul up there. There's an Anakin and Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars. But then I look and I see like Luke, X-Wing pilot Luke here. And here, I'll pull it off and show. This is like, this is childhood right here. I mean, this is, you would see this on the peg. Now, granted, you know, as my childhood went along, it'd be Empire, it'd be Return of the Jedi. But this is, you would see this card. And like, I'm sorry. I know that there are a lot of people who, you know, love, maybe they're nostalgic for the Power of the Force 2 stuff that came out in the 90s. Maybe, I've even heard a good friend of the show, Riley Blanton, say, you know, he'd get kind of the same nostalgic feels that people like me get for the vintage collection if he saw Revenge of the Sith cards, you know, which are not cards, they're bubbles. The whole thing are bubbles. And to me, that's like, those are some of the worst designed action figure cards for Star Wars ever in the whole, you know, history of mankind. You know, but that, look, the thing is though, is that it would be his nostalgia. He was a kid around that time, and that would really fire him up. So yeah, just absolutely iconic. Of course, they've done the retro collection, which are vintage figures, like the old molds and everything, on the vintage cards with the distressed look to them and all. Here's the thing, I'm not big into that. Like, to me, I have those figures. I don't need those figures. I like the more modern look on the vintage card. But I'll tell you what I am excited about. I'm excited about the retro collection Mandalorian figures. Let me see if I can pull. Now, this is going to be the test, ladies and gentlemen, of my absolute Google ability / on-the-fly video editing ability. Mandalorian retro collection. You know, a lot of people would just go ahead and have these things ready to roll. Not me. Not I, said the fly. I am much more try to do it in the moment and see what happens, you know, so see what takes place when we do that. So let's see here. Let's just do one little piece of editing. I don't know why I like to do things live. It's a mistake. I mean, it is. When you don't know what you're doing, it's a mistake. But check these things out. These are awesome. You've got the Mandalorian, of course, and he's got they're all 5 points of articulation. But look at this: vinyl cape, vinyl cape, vinyl cape. Somebody at Hasbro got a Cricut, and they decided they were going to rock the vinyl cape stuff. Now, IG-11 down here. Oh, my cursor's not showing up. Hey, I learned how to not make the cursor show up, which suddenly, you know, makes me wish I had the cursor up so I could actually show you. Look, there's a vinyl cape on Mando, there's a vinyl cape on Moff Gideon, and there's a vinyl cape on Greef Karga. Somebody at Hasbro got a Cricut. The IG-11 is literally like a vintage IG-88, a little bit of different paint app, and they've got some different bandoliers strung over them. Cara Dune looks great as a vintage figure. Of course, Baby Yoda with the pram, you know. Now, these things are running for more than, you know, figures ever ran back in the day. Of course they are. They're running for, what, $10 a piece, $12 a piece, $15 a piece. I know that you can pre-order them right now at Entertainment Earth, and I think for a case it's like $83. So, shut up, Kristen. What up, Steve? What up, Kristen? Hey, I believe we're going to do a Rock Out Loud next week, and before the holidays, before Thanksgiving, and just let Kristen just get super excited about These Days, the Bon Jovi album These Days. So be ready for that. Check out Rock Out Loud. $10.99 is the price point for the retro collection. Thank you, Cam Hotman. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking $11 for these figures, yeah, honestly, it is It's expensive, especially when you compare it to what we used to pay, you know, in the 80s. Inflation being what it is, production costs being what it is, everything being what it is, you know, obviously things are going to go up, but it does seem, but it also, like someone pointed out to me that, you know, prices were below $10 on action figures up until late, till probably about 7 years ago. Like it really, like there was an overnight uptick. And really the reason I think is because of your vintage collection stuff, along with the Black Series. You know, the Black Series came out. I remember the Black Series first came out, they were at a $15 price point. I'm like, yeah, that's a little expensive, a little too tight. And now they're like $20 and they're going up, you know, 21, 22. If you go to like a GameStop or somewhere like that, you're usually going to pay 22, 23 for those until they go on clearance. I think with that type of product on the market, Hasbro was able to uptick the prices on their other figures. And also, I just don't know that they make much more of them. So, you know, that's just, I guess that's the nation. That is the nature of the business. So, I do wish they'd have more available on the pegs, Cam says. And here's the thing. I've just learned, order online. Just go ahead and order online. Now, granted, I've got some pre-orders. I put some pre-orders in months ago for stuff that I've seen on the shelves, that I've seen people having in hand that never came to me yet. And that's kind of, you know, disappointing, but it is what it is, I guess. But, yeah, the Mando Retro Collection, pretty stoked about, pretty looking forward to that one. So I figured I would, as I said, go through this box, and I don't know, I mean, I can see what's on the top, but I don't remember what's down in the middle of said box. I was moving some things out of the way. I don't know how best to attack this thing, so I will begin with this thing because it's kind of big and on top. Let me see. What's the best way to shoot this thing? Oh, shoot this thing. I got to pull. Sorry, guys. I got to look away from the chat for a minute here while I do this. Oh, that came into the camera there. I wasn't thinking about that. So, well, first of all, I've got to come down with my camera, I guess. So, again, doing all this on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. I am not a professional YouTuber. Stuffity is. Check out Stuffity's YouTube channel. You'll appreciate it. Anyone else want to plug their YouTube channel, please feel free to go ahead. All right, this that we're going to pull up here, this is what in the 90s, I guess, passed for a vintage, for a Death Star playset in the 90s. This is the hallway of the Death Star. I believe it was branded Power of the Force, and in these holes here, they're guns and like the camera things that actually go in those holes. I wonder if I back it up if there'd be more light. I don't know. You can see the holes there. This is actually very dusty. There's a gun over here because you had to have a gun to play Star Wars. But then that is a little cell block. There's a door in there where you can rescue Princess Leia. You can have your figures rescue Princess Leia. Let's see. Let's make a lot of people angry right now. Let's do that. That'll be fun. So here's Luke coming to rescue the princess. Let's see. Come around this way. There's Luke. He's Luke Skywalker. He's here to rescue you. He has been beat up by a Wampa. This is Lego Holiday Special stuff we're doing here. And to help Luke out, here is which one is this guy? Everyone, which one is this guy right here? Who is that? Do anybody know? He's a clone trooper. He's going to help Luke. Put him back there. Whoa. He's not staying on the peg. Put him back there like that. Well, he's down. Clone trooper down. Clone trooper down. We need a Jedi. And so Luke from Jedi is going to step in. And he's got a gun and a lightsaber because this is Luke from Jabba's palace. He dropped his lightsaber. Check that guy out. That is a really, I really like this Luke. This is a vintage collection. Luke, he came on a card like the Luke. Why is he holding his gun sideways? Break yourself. Hold on, let me fix that wrist. Look, he's like, yo, break yourself. He came on a vintage card, like the Return of the Jedi Luke on a vintage card. His cape is a little too light, so when you put his hood down, and he's like, "You will take Captain Solo and the Wookiee. You'll bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me now." The hood kind of still fluffs up, like if you're wearing a hoodie, and it doesn't go all the way down. That was fives. Thank you, C.W. Walker. The dead clone trooper back there is fives. Also, to help rescue the princess, I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me. The Force is with me. I'm one with the Force, and he just took out Hoth, Luke, and fives, and now other Luke's down. Wow, these pegs don't work for these guys. That's Chirrut Imwe, vintage collection Chirrut. Looks really good. He's got a little. He's got his staff with him here, of course. Let me move in on him there. But also, come on, man. You have to do that thing where you hold your hand up behind it. Yeah, sorry. Anyhow, yeah, he comes with his staff, but he also comes with his little gun that he took TIE fighters out with in Rogue One. And because none of these guys could actually do it, we sent in a ringer. Old Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. I had some great stands for these figures, and again, one of those things that got kind of gone in the Purge, the Great Purge. Din Djarin. Isn't that his name? Din Djarin? Anyhow, yeah, the Mandalorian. A lot of shadow on him. I thought these things did better. This light box used to be better. Do we still have lights? Anyhow. All right. So yeah. So those are some cool things. Those weren't actually in the box. Those are sitting over by the box. The figures were, but this detention block playset was in the box. It was on top of the box. So, I mean, it's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of stuff that you'll see here on the celebratory 200th episode. Friends call him Denny. Justin Grant says, I perpetually have the wrong pegs for figures in my life. For figures. It's my lot in life. Yeah. JV says camera won't focus on the blind guy. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, let's see. Let me get this out of the way here. Get the old detention block playset out of the way. It's actually really, truly, if you get you, and especially now that they've got like a good Luke in Stormtrooper disguise, and they came out with the Han in Stormtrooper disguise on a vintage card. If you want to open, it really is a great little display piece where you can put this, stick this on a shelf and then display it kind of head on, where you're looking down the way. And then, of course, that blows out. You can blow that out for the garbage chute and that sort of thing. I don't know if we can get in, and there is a door that's supposed to go with this. I bet I'll find it as it's happening, but there's a door that opens and closes, I think, in there. Yeah. And so it's a cool little piece, it's 90s Star Wars toys. I mean, ooh, there is no other way out. We have to go to the fat man's face. So now here's my problem. What do you do with this stuff once I take it out of the box? Put it over here. All right, let's see what else this is a big box to dig through. This is not much. This will be easy to show. As I say, there's junk in here. And there's still 2 people down. Man down. Clone down. Not quite trained Jedi down. Move you guys. This is the gun to... Oh. Come on now. There we go. This is the gun to the not the Death Star, the Star Destroyer playset. It wasn't really a ship, but now when you were a little kid, you could actually get it on your arm, and used the handle on the old Star Destroyer playset. It was pretty cool. It had a breathing chamber for Vader. A lot of people don't like it. Let me see if I can pull up. You know what? Let's see if we can pull up a picture of the vintage Star Destroyer playset. Vintage Star Destroyer playset. Kenner. Just so you can kind of get an idea of what it looked like. It was one of my favorite toys to have because you could, like, it had a lot of pegs, a lot of places to put figures and stuff. And let's see, I'm trying to find a good picture of the toy itself. I'll just use this here. Let's see, view image. This comes to us courtesy of StarWarsBlog.StarWars.com. So there you go. The other, I forget where the other image came courtesy from. It's of Hasbro. We'll just say Hasbro. Came to us courtesy of Hasbro. Let's see if I can pull. Oh, that's not very big. No, I need a larger image. Sorry, everyone. Watch Steve do terrible YouTube videos. Hey, congratulations on 200 subscribers. If you're a new subscriber, this is what you signed up for. Ridiculousness like this. Tools. If you go to tools, you can select the size, and I want it to be large. I don't want it to be any size. I want it to be large. Worthpoint.com. We'll pull it up. This comes to us courtesy of worthpoint.com. And this is actually pretty good. Pretty good picture of the old Star Destroyer playset. I guess I could have, like, I can't walk around with the camera. This is where I need a handheld camera that I can walk around with and show you guys stuff on the shelf. Also, I need the cursor to be going. If you'll look at the very top, you can see where that black piece is. That actually held batteries, and the button you could press down and it would light up down in the breathing chamber there, which has that orange translucent thing. So you could see Vader in there as he was sitting in there. Now, if you move still on the roof, down from the from where the black tube is, you'll see a little orange thing sticking up. That actually, this is what's impressive about this, is that means that the orange thing is folded up. It was just this translucent piece of orange thing that had like some waves on it and stuff. And the idea was it was supposed to be the holographic projector where Vader would talk to the Emperor. On the actual base of the thing itself, you can see the gun up front, and you see in the middle there's that circular place. You would stand Vader there, and then the thing would swing down, and you could actually put someone behind it. And it was supposed to look like kind of a hologram communicator. On the opposite side from where we're looking, down in the pit, there's a door, a trap door that flies open that you could actually throw people out of if you wanted to. We will now jettison you into space. There were pegs underneath the roof where you could hang people upside down to torture them, and there are pegs all along. There's 4 pegs. Oh, look, I zoomed in a little bit. There are 2 pegs, one on either side of the front part of the breathing chamber, and all through those little well areas where the Imperial workers would be and everything. But this was a great place to display the vintage bounty hunters like Dengar and Bosk, Forlom, Zuckuss, Boba Fett, and Vader, and then put down in those little troughs in the little areas, put Imperial guards, Death Commanders, Imperial commanders, and that sort of thing, doing the work and seeing things happen. So let's see, find another box. Oh, what message is held for review? Why is this message held for review? Let's see. Chat can be seen by you or him from the plug. You can make the public. Got it. I don't know how to make this message public. How do you make it show? All right. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you, JV. Hit this. Yeah. Hey, this is the kind of boring content you'll get when you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like and leave a comment. Back to the box. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, this guy's interesting. See if he's ready to come out. Yeah, there he is. All right, we'll put him down in here. Okay. This is a Marvel Legends Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill is a character in the Thor comics, and you can see he looks like Thor. He is an alien, of course. He's not a bad guy, though he looks like a bad guy. The name Beta Ray Bill just always trips me out. He is an ally of Thor. His hammer is not called Stormbreaker. Anyone know what his hammer is called? The hammer of Beta Ray Bill? What is looking in the chat? Justin, this seems like something that you would know, Justin Grant. The hammer of Beta Ray Bill is called... It's not Mjolnir. It is Stormbreaker. Okay, yeah, Beta Ray Bill's... Okay, I thought it might be, but then I didn't want to... You don't want to say the wrong thing, especially when it's out there to the world. Because people... This is what people do. They'll be like, hey, here's the comment they'll leave. Hey, you Sasquatch-looking jerk. Don't you know that Beta Ray Bill's hammer is called Stormbreaker? You're getting confused with the Marvel Cinematic Universe Stormbreaker, which is not really Stormbreaker. That's just what Thor called it, and that's kind of a shout out to Beta Ray Bill. So get it right. Thank you. They wouldn't be that nice in the comments, and so you listen when you're dealing in geek stuff. You gotta get your stuff right. But Beta Ray he actually held Mjolnir. He was worthy to hold Mjolnir, and thus he possessed the power of Thor. See, ladies and gentlemen, quick lesson. That is the promise of Mjolnir. Whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, will possess the power of Thor. They will not become Thor. They'll possess the power of Thor. The only people who actually became Thor, Donald Blake and Eric Masterson. But they were not necessarily Thor. I mean, I guess they were Thor after they held that hammer for a long time. But it wasn't like Eric Masterson is Thor, Donald Blake is Thor. It was that they turned into Thor, like almost changed places with him. I guess, you know what? I guess in the Tales of Suspense back in the day, maybe Donald Blake did actually continue to think as Thor. Maybe that did. Here's the point. Holding the hammer does not make you Thor. Excuse me for a minute. Hey, dog. Hey, buddy. Hey, can we stop snoring? It's not professional. It's not professional to snore. The dog is snoring. It's not professional to snore. On a live thing. So, oh my gosh, look, I shouldn't have done that on camera. That was a mistake. Everyone thought they tuned into a beached whale video just then. They thought they were tuning into that 50th anniversary of the exploding beached whale that we talked about this past week on the Big Honkin' Show. So suddenly, people came in here and rolled in with dynamite to blow me up, so I wouldn't be stuck in the chair forever, and I wouldn't just sit here. So anyhow, back to Beta Ray Bill. He was in the Build a Hulk wave recently, where you built Smart Hulk, Professor Hulk is what people have taken to call him. I don't remember what piece of the Hulk he came with. I just know that he hasn't made it to the display shelf yet. Instead, he got put into the box. So, his mouth opens and closes. So that's kind of a fun thing that happens there. And he falls over really, really fun. I mean, it's just fun how much he falls over. The thing about what Hasbro's done is they don't really do soft good capes and stuff anymore. Now he's positioned so that he'll fall. What a lovely white background you have. This is the dumbest thing you've ever done, Steve. You're an idiot. So, but yeah, it's really cool. They'd only done like one other, I think, Marvel Legends Beta Ray Bill. I never had him. And, I mean, you don't need more than one Beta Ray Bill. You just need the one. So there can be only one Beta Ray Bill. So, that's what we got there. We got old Beta Ray Bill hanging out in the box. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Sticking with Marvel Legends. One of the things that Marvel Legends does is they do these Build-A-Figure waves where if you get every figure, you can actually build a figure. And usually the Build-A-Figure is a bigger figure. And so unfortunately, Hulk has become more Build-A-Figure fodder than just buy a Hulk on a card kind of thing. And when I started kind of getting back into Marvel Legends was not long after the time of Thor Ragnarok. And so the Build-A-Figure was the Gladiator Hulk. And, you know, collecting being what it is, they short pack. Here's what I don't understand about the toy industry, and maybe people like Michael Mercy or some of those guys can tell me. I don't understand why, if you have a promotion where people are to collect every piece of a figure to build a figure, why you would short pack the figures that have certain pieces. And a short pack is this: I may have a case of figures, and there'll be 2 of every figure except one. And that one figure, in this case, would have been an arm, and I believe it was Hela, and she was impossible to find. Now, once again, what is happening here? I can't get this thing to. There we go. And so this is I've got this much of the Hulk, and there's a Thanos arm here, where there was a figure I wanted that came in a Build a Thanos wave, and I just grabbed that figure for a very discounted price, and so I had the arm. And so as a means just to kind of keep things stored, I plugged the Thanos arm into Hulk here. You can see I had his legs. I needed both arms. He's got a helmet in here somewhere. But my friend Lucas was kind enough to somehow get his hands on a complete one of these Build-A-Figure Gladiator Hulks. And so he's up on the shelf with all the other Hulks. And this guy's just sitting here. So if anyone needs, Gladiator Hulk head or body, or one of the legs, or a Thanos arm from Infinity War, just let me know. We help each other. That's what we do in the Golaverse. We're friends. We're friends like that. Granted, I've still got a head that I've got to send Adam Bray, and should have sent him a year ago. So I'm not that good of a friend. But look, if you know me at all, you know that I'm not great with the post office. Me and the post office, we don't do things well. So how many people have we run off so far? We've got 200 subscribers and 2 people still watching, because they're like, surely it'll get good. Who's Shirley? And why would she know if it gets good or not? Here's vintage Star Wars alert, everybody. Here we go. Here's the actual true blue vintage Star Wars. Let's see if I can get this guy to. I've got to get the. Hold on, I got to get a stand to help me out here with this fella. Oh, the dog. I don't know if the dog snore is coming through or not, but I'm not about to roll over and look like a pathetic loser, leaning back, telling the dog to be quiet again, because that's no fun. Nobody likes that. All right, this is the vintage 12-inch Luke Skywalker, and there he is in all his glory. The lightsaber is really interesting on him, because his hands obviously don't have what I guess in G.I. Joe terms would be called the Kung Fu grip. He did come with a grappling hook that has fallen down into the box. But yeah, his hands don't have the Kung Fu grip. And so what they've got is kind of and our friend Daniel Landy pointed this out, and the Rebel Force Radio guys never asked Dave Filoni for him, but you see it's got a little handle there, much like the Ezra lightsaber from Rebels. So that you just kind of slide it over his hand and lock it into place. Like I say, he also came with a grappling hook, a la, to swing, or the chasm of the Death Star and that sort of thing. The 12-inch line of vintage Star Wars figures had, somebody help me out, they had Luke, Vader, Chewie, Han, Leia. Was there a Ben Kenobi? I don't know. Yeah, there was a Ben Kenobi. I think there was a Jawa. There was, They end up doing a Boba Fett, IG-88 being the most rare of the vintage 12-inch figures. C-3PO and R2-D2, I think that rounds it out. Maybe a Stormtrooper, a vintage 12-inch Stormtrooper. I don't know. I'm trying to find a list of them all. I know that it didn't continue on. Like 3 3/4 inch was the way to go back in those days. And so Kenner, instead of trying to shove things down our throats that didn't work, just leaned into what did work. And so thus the 12-inch collection didn't really go that long. But then in the 90s, when Star Wars came back, I mean, it was 12-inch figures out the wazoo. Like you just couldn't get enough 12-inch figures. They were doing all kinds of 12-inch figures. Chip says we're waiting for the derailment. Chip, this whole thing is a derailment. The whole event right now is a derail. Look at me. I've done nothing but derail in this whole episode. I need water. So, look, I'm a podcaster. I've got a face for radio. I think that, like, there's part of me that's always like, this YouTube thing will be really fun. And then I start doing it and I realize, no, this is not good. This is terrible. I am awful at this. So, but yeah, that's the 12-inch Luke. Really cool figure. Again, it belonged to my brother, and thus it ended up getting passed to me. Oh, this is a good one right here. This is one that I was pretty excited about, in fact, and I don't really have the packaging for him. I threw that away, but he came on what some people would say is retro packaging. Hasbro has really got into the retro packaging idea. And I mean, look, as collectors, we need to be like real, and we need to understand that we are paying for cardboard when we get excited about packaging. And I understand, I just talked about the vintage collection, not long ago, and how much I love the vintage collection and how it just fills me with all the good feelings of the world and all that good stuff. But I mean, look, let's not act like it's not cardboard. Let's not act like that a lot of these figures aren't just repacks, doing something else. And when you get a figure that's not a repack, then, that's fun. I don't know how much of a retooling this was. I'm not a Marvel Legends expert, but this that I'm about to pull up and show you, let's make sure he can stand up. Yes, he did. What I'm about to show you came in what they're calling retro packaging. It's the 90s Spider-Man the animated series stuff. This is Electro. And I love this Electro because he does have the classic Electro look. The weird mask that like no one would wear, the orange or the yellow and green outfit is just, I mean, this is everything you want a Spider-Man villain to be. This is Electro. And I maintain that Spider-Man has one of the best rogues galleries out there. I put his up there with Batman. In fact, this is my hot take in life. I think Spider-Man's rogues gallery is better than Batman's rogues gallery. I'm in the minority on that, but I will absolutely stand by that situation. But this Electro figure is really, really cool. I'm not great at posing. I was talking to my friend Lucas from Chewy's Cantina, geekoutonline.com/canteen if you want to join that Facebook group. And we were talking about how, we have to go online and see how other people have them posed and that sort of thing. And granted, because the light is all coming from down here, you can't really see the detail on his eyes and everything, and get in his face really good. In his face. See, it gets dark as I move it up. So let me move him way back there. Let's see if that helps, if I can get this in there with it. Yeah, you can kind of see. I mean, like, it really is good detailing on that head sculpt and everything with the face. It kind of got out of focus there. There we go. There you go. And so Electro's just one of those villains. To me, he's a timeless classic Spider-Man villain. I think that what happened is Venom came along. And when Venom comes along in the late 80s, early 90s, that begins a whole slew of, this is the greatest villain of all time. Venom is wonderful. There's no one better than Venom. And so Electro was not in the Electro was not in the original Star Wars 12-inch series. Verified double stamp. You can't triple step and double stamp. Lloyd, you can't triple step and double stamp. But but Venom comes along, and everyone loves Venom, and so they really kind of leaned into the Venom stuff. And so by the time you get to the early to mid 90s, Venom is not only an anti-hero, he has spawned other Venoms to the point that we're doing, like, we're going back to space for the Planet of the Symbiotes and that sort of thing. We are we're dealing with Carnage and all those different incarnations of what came out of the symbiote stuff. And so then you roll into the mid to late 90s, you're dealing with the Clone Saga stuff and everything. And then there was so much weird stuff that went on with, like, the Green Goblin and all, that really, truly, they left behind some of the people that I think were some of the best members of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. People like Electro. Now, is Electro going to be the guy that you do a 6-issue like story arc with? Not necessarily, but Electro teamed up with the Sinister Six is. Electro is a great one-off, one-issue character, but now see what happens is people like him get played for laughs. They did something with him recently where, like, he was losing control of his powers or something. That was kind of interesting. But see, then what happens is you have a great actor like Jamie Foxx put into a role to play Electro, and that version of Electro was just weird. The whole, like, when you meet Electro initially in the comics, he's like, I'm going to rob banks. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rich with this stuff. He wasn't some weirdo who's like, my name, and so I think if they would have let Jamie Foxx just be cool, just be a Jamie Foxx, I think he would have been a great Electro. They didn't have to have this, they didn't have to have this green and yellow get up for him, but the whole, he became like translucent blue and I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the way they did Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But I think Electro's a fun, great villain, and great for one or two issues, and then he goes away and he comes back later. Another villain in the Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery that is sitting here in this box as we speak. Here is the Beetle. Wow, those wings really, really. Whoa. I knocked Electro over. Sorry. I don't know if I can get this guy to stand up. I got to work on getting him to stand up. Hold on a second. While we play with toys, give me just a moment, and we will. He's very heavy in the back, because he's got these wings, so he's a little bit harder to get stood up. He's got a cool ab crunch though that kind of helps him lean forward. Now see, he's going to tip forward. I'm not good at standing things up. I'm not. Maybe I should grab the doll stander again. Oh, nope. Almost had him. Oh, there we go. All right. Now you come here. And you get right there. And you come in here. And you get back there. All right, there we go. The Beetle, ladies and gentlemen. Not Blue Beetle. Just the Beetle. Again, very dark. I wish. It's too late now. It's too late to try to do this over again and do it in a different way. But maybe one day we'll figure it out. This is a really cool figure. He's got this armor in the back here that kind of folds out like on the character, like the character did. Like, it really does kind of, these wings come out. they're intended to come out like a beetle's wings would. Like there's an exoskeleton, and it blossoms open, and then the wings come out. The beetle is he's a second tier Rogues Gallery guy. Like he's not top tier Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, but he's visually interesting. The green and the purple, the mask and that sort of thing that he wears, the helmet with the face mask and everything, is very interesting. And is that a My Little Pony? So it's a cool figure too. The way that the wings are articulated. Of course, he's got that Marvel Legends articulation and everything. But I haven't played with him much, and even now I should have got those wings a little bit adjusted in the back. He's got that Sectaurs translucent wing thing going on, and let me see. Right here in front of the box is actually now we're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking with gas. Hold on a second. Let me get this guy where he can stand up. I got another guy I'm about to set in there, which will probably mean the beetle will get knocked over, but that's fine. Because that's what happens sometimes. That's the brakes boy. That's the brakes little man. Well, come on now. I tell you what. It's like I don't want to loosen the joints up, but sometimes you start trying to balance these guys and they just want to tip over, and I don't know why. I don't know why they would do this. What if I do it like that? Nope. All right, so he's leaning back too far, so I got to lean him forward somehow. But even that's going to mess up. Nope. All right, so got to come forward with him. Now he's going to fall forward because I went too far. This is Mach 1. I can't get him to stand up, so I wonder if I've got... Bear with me. Here's the other thing Hasbro has done in recent years that's not good. Look, you can dog on Kenner toys and their 5 points of articulation all you want to, but I'll tell you this: Hasbro has not been consistent in peg holes, and so there's not a company or a third-party company that can come out and make just a consistent like stand for your Marvel Legends and stuff, because sometimes it's almost like the peg holes are just there as decorations, because sometimes they're too small for anything, and sometimes they're too big for anything. But in this case, this one is a little too small for him. I think I've got him. Nope, I didn't. Dadgummit. So close. The reason I'm pulling Mach 1 out is because Mach 1 is Beetle. Beetle is Mach 1. In fact, this all came to light in this. Let me see. There we go. This all came to light in this issue. Back in the 90s, late 90s, all the heroes died. They actually stepped into an entity named Onslaught to dissipate his energy, and were thought to be dead. And rather than actually be dead, they were transported to another universe that was created by Franklin Richards. But they were gone from our Earth. And in their stead, a new group of heroes rose to prominence, the Thunderbolts. This first issue, the Thunderbolts are doing their thing, justice like lightning. I mean, it's great. And at the end, it's revealed that the Thunderbolts are not heroes at all. Instead, it's revealed that they are the masters of evil in disguise, led by Baron Zemo, not Baron von Zemo. There we go. Mach 1 is actually the Beetle. He is that's who he was as a villain. And there were others. There was a guy named Techno who was the Tinkerer, I believe. There was Meteorite, who was Moonstone. There was Atlas, who was the bad guy Goliath. And there was Screaming Mimi was called Songbird. Now, Marvel Legends has done not only Mach 1. Fortunately, they're all sitting here in this box, by the way, the ones that they've done. So that's a fun transition. to be able to do this. Um, the problem is getting her to stand now because she has like the weak. Don't take this the wrong way, but Hasbro makes ladies with kind of weak ankle joints sometimes. So she's kind of hard to stand. So I'm going to move him, get him out of there, and I'm going to set her back here where she can kind of lean up against things there. Move him over here. So that's Songbird, and the figure's really not much. She's got the cool. She would make sound stuff, surround sound. She would make sound projectiles, kind of like Claw, the sound dude, and she could use them to fly and that sort of thing, and use them as weapons. So NECA stands work pretty good for they do, Lucas, except again it's the peg situation. So I should probably try her in one of these. Like I just tried a NECA stand with the Mach 1, and the pegs weren't big enough for the holes in his feet. But now she has dainty little woman feet that Hasbro makes. So maybe nope. Nope, afraid not. Afraid it's not going to happen here. Afraid, well, that's weird. Yeah, not going to happen there with her. So, the dog is going to bed. I'm not going to do that again. Let's see, is the dog going to bed? Sorry, go to bed. Sorry. Go to bed. Good night. So, I'll just bring her over here to the front. Yeah, this clips on, comes off, clips on. They didn't do a lot with her, the hand situation. She doesn't have any extra hands. I would have liked to seen on this one some extra hands. But the thing is when you're dealing with Thunderbolts, they're kind of an afterthought almost. Really, they're not going to be a team that I think is going to be in high demand. Kind of like the new Warriors. They did a Night Thrasher recently, and so. And they have done Firestar, but they did Firestar as kind of a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends situation rather than a new Warrior situation. She's kind of flossing there the way those arms are messed up. And then the other one they've done with the Thunderbolts is this guy's named Citizen V. I definitely don't know that he's going to stand up. Let's try him on the NECA stand. See what happens. The thing about the NECA stands is yeah, they're great, but if these things start to topple, if their foot actually fits in the peg snugly, and they start to topple, it'll bend their foot. This guy he fits good on the NECA stand. This is Citizen V, V for Victory, and he was actually Baron Zemo in disguise. So they've made 3 of the 7, and he's a fun figure. I mean, and there would be another Citizen V that would come along and in the comics. I don't know what his story was, but he's like, you'll pay for making fun of my namesake's legacy and all that good stuff. Oh my gosh, we've not even scratched the surface of this box, and no one's having fun. I really like most of the Marvel figures. They look so good. Spider X 888. Yeah, they really do. Look, the whole thing is the whole thing with the Marvel Legends is they're doing a great job. Like they're about to do Frogman, and do you think I'm not going to get Frogman? The problem with the wave of Frogman is I don't really want any of those other figures that are in there. So what do you do? Because the Build-A-Figure is Stiltman, for crying out loud. Who doesn't want Stiltman on their shelf? I mean, and the figure that his legs come with, are hand soldiers, ninja hand. The hand. That's the name of the group. The hand. They're like a group of ninjas, and they come with more legs, so you can actually stack the legs more and more and more and more and more. So. Peg sizes are a conspiracy, and I agree. I absolutely agree. But they've got Frogman coming. If you don't, and Frogman is one of those just random, obscure, like weird characters. Marvel Legends, Stiltman wave. Let's see if we can find some good pictures, courtesy of Hasbro, for these. I should probably just go over to Big Bad Toy Store somewhere to check those out. Real quick, we want large, because we want it to come through okay. And Never. Now, also, they're doing. You know what else they did? Did those Marvel Legends retro 3 3/4 inch? I'm sorry, I'm getting way out. I have derailed myself now. I don't know. Maybe this is actually a decent wave. Let's look at it, shall we? Let's look at this wave of Marvel Legends and see what we think of them. This comes to us courtesy of Kapow Toys. .co.uk by way of Hasbro, really. You've got the Peter B. Parker from the End of the Spider-Verse movie, and he comes with multiple hands, a drink to sip on, two heads. He really does look, it's a great look. I mean, he does look like the character. Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse. He's got the two heads and extra hands. There you see the hand ninja. This is top right. And you see those two long poles that are with him. Those are Stiltman's legs. And if you army build hand ninjas, you can make a really super tall Stiltman. Bottom left, that's Gwen Stacy. I guess they call her Ghost Spider now in the comics. She was Spider-Gwen. And she comes with Spider-Ham. And then you've got the Prowler from Into the Spider-Verse. And that's a really good looking Prowler. Here's the, you know what? I take back everything I said. The only figure I don't really care for in this is the hand ninja. I don't care about the hands. Anyhow, back to the Frogman. Marvel's Frogman. And you can see, like, let me do this. So we're not, let me do some work here and see if I can zoom this thing in, because this is absolutely amazing. You can see there at his head, the two white dots in his mouth. That's the dude's eyes. Like, really, this thing is like a mascot outfit rather than than just your standard like supervillain outfit, you know. So the eyes aren't really his eyes. His eyes are there in the mouth, like some type of mascot outfit would be. And as I recall, he was a one-off appearance in Spider-Man, I think. So I don't really know. But I take that back. That's a good wave. That's a fun wave of figures. I can get behind that wave, I think. The problem is I know where to display them right now. I was called to task on Rebel Force Radio the other night about the junk behind me, which part of that junk was the box that I'm going through now. So I love that figure, and I know nothing about the character. Exactly, Dylan. That's the whole thing. It's like you don't know about this character, but you know that it's something. And it's one of those things, it's like, when it comes to Marvel Legends, Hasbro has really been knocking it out of the park. And so just a really random, obscure situation like that is absolutely very strange. Let's see what we can find out here. Frogman, a Marvel Comics superhero or villain associated with Spider-Man. His first appeared in Marvel Team Up number 21, created by J.M. DeMatteis, who later described him as one of his all-time favorite characters. He, Spider-Kid, and Toad briefly teamed up called the Misfits. Yes, he teamed up with the White Rabbit. That's right. Frogman has a tendency to capture villains simply by dumb luck. Eugene's inability to fully pilot his automated Frogman costume caused him to wildly bounce around defeating villains. He didn't team up with... Okay, he wanted to be a superhero. I thought he was a villain. That's my bad. Okay. Let's see. Eugene Petilio was born in Brooklyn, New York, the son of Vincent Petilio, the supervillain Leapfrog. After several defeats by Daredevil, Iron Man, and Spider-Man, which eventually landed him in jail, Vincent eventually decided to retire and go straight. Eugene dons his father's costume as the Fabulous Frogman in an attempt to be a crime fighter. His two major enemy villains are the White Rabbit, a comedic villain inspired by the Alice in Wonderland character, and the Walrus, Cuckoo Chew, dim-witted character who essentially had the proportion abilities of a walrus, tough skin, and super strength. He, Spider-Kid, and Toad, like the bad guy Toad from the X-Men, formed a super team called the Misfits. He is later recruited as part of the 50 State Initiative. Oh, wow. So during the whole Avengers Initiative stuff. Oh, no. During the Secret Invasion, he was revealed to be a Skrull. Oh, no. Wow, he got replaced. That's crazy. Okay, so they bring him up every now and again. He really is, but it's just so funny. It's just so cool that they would do something like that because, and here's the thing, being an equally a big Star Wars fan, as you know, it does get a little frustrating that they don't. I guess they do take the same chances, but when you come from a world where, the earliest Star Wars figures, once you got past Han, Luke, Leia, Vader, Chewie, Ben, R2, 3PO, you started getting into obscure characters: Greedo, Walrus Man, Hammerhead, Snaggletooth, Ugnaughts, Lord, every person from Jabba's cell barge, Yak Face for crying out loud, Klaatu, Nikto, Barada. And I'm not just saying that from the day the earth stood still. Those are what we knew those cell barge characters as. So it's absolutely, it's just, so I guess maybe they do take the same risk when they make the obscure aliens with Hasbro, but it doesn't feel like it, I guess, because we're used to that as Star Wars fans from way back. So yeah, that's wow. I don't know where I'm going to put this stuff. Oh, let me just throw another one in here. Then, in the midst of all these other Marvel Legends characters that are standing in here, this guy will probably stand up. Probably not. He's real top heavy because of his headgear going on. This is Loki, as he appears in the comics. This isn't a Marvel. This isn't an MCU Loki. This is a comic book version of Loki. In fact, almost like the first appearance Loki. Not first appearance, but like Avengers #1 Loki. Let's get him in there. There he goes. All right. He's in a weird pose, but that's fine. We've talked about how we're not very good at posing here. What else is in the box? That's just the thing that Optimus Prime stands on. That's just a stand. Oh, here's that door from the Death Star from the playset earlier. So yeah, I knew there was a door. It was right there. It was there all along. The whole time, all I was wondering was, where was that door? And it was there all along. Let's see, what else is up in here? Up in here. I've got a box of heads. Oh, this is one of the things that make me sad in life. One of the Build-A-Figures that we talked about, here, let me just show you. There's a box of heads here. There's Venom and some Absorbing Man heads in there. The Venom is just an extra head for a Venom figure. But this is one of the things when I wasn't collecting Marvel Legends, I missed out on, was the Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure wave. And when you go back again, it's one of those things when you go back to try to get, in the secondary market, they're non-existent. He's absorbing some rock there. The Absorbing Man's one of my favorite villains of all time. I think that, and he gets played as a joke now a lot today, or either a good guy. I have a real problem with turning villains good guys in comics the way they do. It makes them more interesting when we do that. No, it doesn't. It means that because it's been done so much, it's like, hey, here's a novel idea. Have a villain be a villain. Like, wow, and that's fine. They did it with, like we said, with Venom back in the day. Dr. Doom has kind of become an anti-hero of sorts. They were doing that kind of in the 90s with Doom 2099. But yeah, Absorbing Man is on some kind of Hulkbuster team. I don't know if it's like a Suicide Squad. But anyhow, it's one thing to have villains that end up being conflicted. Sandman, I think, was kind of the first one who was like, you know what, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not doing this anymore. And it was kind of compelling. And Sandman would keep, it's like every time I'm out, they suck me right back in. That's the kind of life that Sandman seemed to have. But when you get into things like, I don't know, like Dr. Doom suddenly just being a good guy, or Venom, like, I defend the innocent, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't, man. You want to kill Spider-Man. That's your whole thing. I can't get this guy to stand. I don't know much about him. This is Union Jack. Obviously, he's decked out in the Union Jack. He's got a knife. He's got a gun. He's some type of British super soldier. Um, I don't really know that. So, but I don't know a lot about him. He looks. Look at those eyes. He looks pretty. He's not happy with you at all. Um, but I can't get him to stand up. This is my lot in life. I can't get these figures to stand up and then I start messing around with them so much trying to get them to stand up that they end up, with loose joints and everything, like an old person. My joints are so loose. Got the loose joints. What am I supposed to do? Got the loose joints. Look at my loose joints. Not to be confused with moose joints. What's a moose joint? It's a place where the moose like to go hang out. Yep. See? Here we go. NECA stand. Peg hole. Loosey goosey. So, but now he's standing. It's not the peg that's helping him. Like I just suddenly had him standing. Now I will never be able to do that again. Oh my Lord. And now he's just standing up there. So I'll stick him in here and see what happens. Loki fell down. That's exactly what happened. It sounds like a bad movie. Loki fell down. And so did Beetle, and so did Electro. Loki fell down, starring Tom Holland as not Loki. He was Spider-Man. Tom Hiddleston. Ewan McGregor. Batman. I don't know where this Superman came from. This is a Superman figure. I love Superman, as you know. He and the Hulk are my faves, and this guy is actually a pretty cool looking figure. He's got 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's a 10 point of articulation guy. Not a ton of it, but I like the fact he's got the S on the back of the cape. I don't know what collection this came out of. I'm not sure. He doesn't look like a DC Direct guy. He's got it's like Superman walked to the bar and the bartender said, "Hey man, why the long face? Look at that thing. That is a long face." That Union Jack is the third iteration of the Union Jack. That's almost all I know about Union Jack. You know what I should have done? Where is it? I have it up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. When I don't know something about a character, I don't have to Google. Oh, this is going to be a mistake. I can sense it already. Everything's already so precariously balanced, like just on the head of a pin. I can pull out the Marvel Encyclopedia. Ta-da! This is from 2009, so it's a little bit dated. But let's see. Let's go to Union Jack. What, does U come before X? Yeah, U comes before W. Of course it does, because you don't get to W without U. Union Jack. Hey, there he is. There he is, kiddos. The book closed. Should I take the dust jacket off while I'm trying to do this? Probably. Is this one of the ones that Adam Bray worked on? All right, who wanted to derail? Because we are now at the derail. There he is, Union Jack. You see him? You see him there? Okay. Union Jack. The original Union Jack, Lord James Falsworth, fought the British during World War I as a member of the heroic team Freedom's Five. After an injury, he was succeeded as Union Jack by his son Brian, formerly known as the Destroyer. Well, now the Destroyer's a masked wrestler. While his daughter Jacqueline went on to become Spitfire. Both heroes joined the World War II era Invaders, where they fought alongside Captain America and Namor the Submariner. Brian also found, I used to pronounce it Submariner. I guess I'd never heard the word mariner spoken as a kid, and so it's Submariner. And now it just sounds strange coming out of my mouth. Brian also founded the heroic post-war V Battalion. V for victory. The third Union Jack is Joey Chapman, who took up the mantle when Spitfire's son, Kenneth Crichton, refused to follow in his uncle's footsteps. Chapman joined the Knights of the Pendragon, and received superhuman abilities through possession of the Pendragon spirit. As Union Jack, Chapman has served with the most recent Invaders team. Wow. The Pendragon. The Knights of the Pendragon. The Knights of the Pendragon, a new movie starring Union Jack, your mama, your daddy, and everyone else. Let's see. I don't see my friend Adam Bray's name listed here. He did an updated. He helped. I think he contributed to an updated version of this. Again, this is only the 2009 edition. Now I got to slip that dust cover back on, that dust jacket. Isn't that what you call them, dust jackets? Some people don't like them. I feel like the book's not complete without them. I think Scott Rifen would agree with me. This is just terrible. This is just, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, worst video ever. I don't know why I'm trying to put this back up there, because I've got nowhere to put it. I'm surrounded by stacks of action figures. I had such a big supper tonight. It wasn't wise. I had some eye round steaks, which are not very marbled steaks. I just today heard a podcast host pronounce a guy in a submarine as a submariner that way, or submariner. Dylan says he just wrote the word submariner. Did he say submariner like M-A-R-E-E-N-E-R? Let's see. This is one. I don't know where this guy came from. This is not a Marvel Legends figure. This is one of those kind of larger action figures that come. This is Captain America from Infinity War. My wife picked him up at a yard sale where a kid was selling a bunch of figures. And so she just grabbed a few. Some of them were actually Marvel Legends, and this guy, though, is not. But still a cool-looking figure. He's got that. That's not a bad likeness of Chris Evans. Hi. Let's talk about... Wait, what did he say? So you got detention. Yeah, you can see the costume is kind of beat up and everything. It's his Infinity War costume. He's got the beard going and all. Let's see, what else is in this box? More stands that don't fit anybody's feet. Here we go. This is the grappling hook to that 12-inch Luke from earlier. He's got a place I can hang that right on his belt there. He's up there. Ooh, gang. Now, we're going back to the Toy Biz days for this fella, and there's no way that he's going to be able to stand up. Not with these wings. Take these broken wings. Can you get copyright stricken for singing something? Something off about Steve Ridgers, that is. Let's see. Adam Bray is on the 2019 encyclopedia for sure. To date, I consider it my favorite compilation of short stories. It's that good. Wonderful. He said Mariner the long way. Thank you. Okay, so the dude said Submariner. This dude, this is a Toy Biz Archangel. I don't know how I can have this guy stand up. These things don't really come off. I mean, these wings are on him, ladies and gentlemen. And look, the wing spread is bigger than my face. I mean, that's a good 12 inches there or more. Archangel is a really cool looking character. He was Angel, of course, and this is after he had been, I think he'd been one of the 4 horsemen of Apocalypse, but I'm not really sure. Anyhow, he came with these missiles that would shoot out of the back here, and everything's real loosey-goosey. Like I said, this is the Toy Biz days. This is before Hasbro had the Marvel license. In fact, Marvel owned Toy Biz. Now, there's a way to fold these things in. There we go. We can, instead of stretching them all the way out, we can just do that. That looks a little more natural, doesn't it? But yeah, I just always liked the look of Archangel. The thing is I didn't read a lot of comics. Lord, they don't have butterfly joints. They have some other kind of weird thing going on with the shoulder joints there. But this is when this was an X-Men Classics figure, I think, and Toy Biz was doing like 5 million points of articulation at the time when they would do their Toy Biz figures. And so what happens over time is when you've got that many points of bendiness on a figure, everything just gets really loose. And that guy's so old, I really need to kind of do a cleanup job on him, clean him up a little bit, and get him smelling fresh. Cause crime fighting will make you stink. Let's see what else is over in here. Oh, this is fun. You know what? I see some stuff I'm going to dig up here real quickly, and bring over here to the light box. Light bright. It's like Christmas Day going through this stuff, y'all. I do love action figures. It's what you know. What's funny is like I will see things like that wave of Marvel Legends we just looked at. When those things first come around, I'm like, I only want the Frogman. I think the Frogman's pretty cool. Then I look and I'm like, I like all these Into the Spider-Verse figures as well. I don't have the affection for Into the Spider-Verse that a lot of people have. I love it as a movie. I think it was a great movie. I think that very well done, unique animation style, really hoping for a sequel. Love that they brought in Spider-Man of 2099 at the end and the whole pointing thing and all that good stuff. But you know, one of the things I said after that, I'm going to digress. Here we go, derailing Steve again. One of the things I said after Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or not Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, is that, you know, we haven't really gotten I don't like to say that. The Peter Parker with whom I'm most familiar. You know, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man gave us a very, whoa, I just heard a weird noise in my ear. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man gave us a very Silver Age Spider-Man, Silver Age Peter Parker. You know, and especially like right now, I'm going through on the Marvel Unlimited app and reading through all of the different. I'm lining them up by the date they're released, and so I'm like reading Fantastic Four, Incredible Hulk, Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers. I'm not into like it's hard to follow like with the Tales of Suspense or Tales to Astonish. What else? What other line is? I don't know, but like you know, to try to follow Iron Man's exploits and stuff. Like I haven't done all that with those individual characters necessarily yet. X-Men, reading the X-Men from the beginning, something I've never done. And you know, there's several things that kind of stand out to me. But one thing that really stands out to me is that Sam Raimi really digs the Silver Age Spider-Man, and a lot of the dialogue in his movies is very. We need to go through the Spider-Man movies from Sam Raimi is what we need to do on Geek Out Loud or on Patreon. And so where was I? What was I talking about? Oh, and so when we get to Garfield's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, it's a little more updated version. You know, you're back to high school Peter Parker. It's just not it. There's just still something that doesn't quite fit. I think, honestly, and this is one of those unpopular opinions, I think that it came a little bit closer to, especially in the first one, came a little bit closer to the Spider-Man of the comics than any of the other incarnations. But he was still always crying as Peter, you know, and it still left a little bit to be desired when it comes to that Peter Parker. Into the Spider-Verse, we almost got him kind of, you know, but we didn't really, and it just, yeah, and I understand, you know, you're dealing with like multiverse and that sort of thing, and so somewhere out there is my Peter Parker, and I hate to say my Peter Parker, is the Peter Parker that I enjoy the most, and honestly, the Peter Parker I enjoy the most is from the late 80s, early 90s, married to Mary Jane, you know, trying to get something going in his life as an adult. The way that he would talk to Aunt May is just like he just adores Aunt May and just always says the kindest things to her, and his marriage is just wonderful. So Uh, Dylan says, I have a lot to say on this my Batman on film. Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. I don't like the term "my." It's not mine. It's the one that I prefer, and I just don't know that we've gotten close, but we just haven't nailed it yet. And so, watching Into the Spider-Verse, I was a little bit disappointed in that. In fact, but I did like that Miles Morales had a Spider-Man who was super heroic to be able to look up to and kind of pattern his heroism after, and then Peter B. Parker comes along and it's just kind of he's kind of a loser, that sort of thing. You've seen the movie. I don't know why I'm reiterating it to you. But ultimately, but I look back to what I was saying. I look at those figures and I'm like, yeah, I like those. I want those, I missed the first time Spider-Ham came around in the Marvel Legends series, and that kind of disappoints me. I'll tell you what else they did that I missed was a Captain Universe Spider-Man. Oh my gosh, here's what we need to do. I don't have any of my comics over here with me, easy to grab. The whole Acts of Vengeance, Cosmic Spidey stuff. Do people do chef's kisses and everything? Love it. Absolutely love that stuff. And then the way they turned that on its head later on when Spider-Man would lose his powers. Great. It's just glorious stuff. So, anyhow, yeah, good stuff. Good times. You know what? We've been going, an hour and a half now? Does anyone have any questions or anything? Why would anyone have any questions for me? I don't understand when people say, do you have questions or that sort of thing? This channel, I don't want to apologize. I'm such a loser. I can't play the sad walking away music because of copyright stuff. This is something, here's the thing, and again, this is where Hasbro is learning to make money just by printing different cardboard images. They did this, with the 6-inch figures a little while back. They call it retro, but man, was it early 90s when Toy Biz did the Marvel figures, and they weren't quite 3. I think they were more like 4 inches, more than 3 3/4 inches. I had those. I got those. They were some of the last action figures that I, would still be a kid, I would say, and got. And what's really cool is like the Hulk, he came with like a bar and a rock, and you could make him bend it or throw the rock or whatever, They all had like these action features. And in the comic books, they're going through, like in a Hulk comic book, they're looking at the different toys that are out there, and Rick's like, this is so cool. Captain America can throw his shield and that sort of thing. And Hulk says, I got a rock. Like, he just keeps saying, I got a rock. They gave me a rock. And it really is kind of like, a lot of times it's like people don't really know what to do with the Hulk. But that's Iron Man. I never opened him and put him on display because I don't really care for that Iron Man. Now, see, I said that out loud. And I'm looking at him now, and I'm like, what don't I like about this Iron Man? Let's pull him over here. Let's bring him to the other camera, ladies and gentlemen. There's something, it's meant to be a 90s kind of armor. You know what? I don't have a problem with this Iron Man. I don't know what I'm talking about. I should open this guy, and he should be on display. He's got a nice gold sheen. Even the red is a little metallic. He just has a very 90s cartoony look to him. He's not super detailed. Maybe that's my problem. I don't know. But yeah, I don't... See, now I'm looking at the figure and I don't know. The other figure I have that's still in the package in this one is... Oh, man, I'm just running out of space. Let me put him in here. Is Wolverine... now look, here's one of those things where I'm very different from a lot of people. And that is that I am not like the huge Wolverine. I never was like big Wolverine X-Men kind of guy. I was always more, I like the Fantastic Four, Hulk, Spider-Man, some Avengers stuff and that sort of thing. X-Men just got very convoluted to me. So what here? Let's see what he got here real quick. I'm coming back to the chat. Dylan says, what I have to say is not negative. My best friend keeps waiting for Batman of the comics on film. I don't fully understand his point of view. Well, that's the thing. The thing is like, which Batman from the comics? Oh my gosh, that's a great discussion to have. Like, and that's the thing too, which Spider-Man from the comics? And I think it comes down to what do you prefer about the character that you're not seeing on screen? I think that we've gotten more, we've gotten closer to the Batman of the comics present day on screen than we have just about any other superhero outside of some of the Marvel Studio stuff. Like, honestly, Captain America's spot on. I think he's, Captain America is just, he's great. Let's go through them. Let's go through. I don't have time. This is a Geek Out Loud. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? This is the fabled Marvel notebook as given to me by my good friend Jeff Brown when I was speaking for his youth group down in Florida. Always, you know what? And I got to tell you something. Jeff's such a good guy. He always treated me so well when he'd ask me to come do stuff for him. And I really appreciate him and his support during a time when I was trying to get something going that just didn't end up getting going. You know, my speaking stuff didn't end up getting... My gosh, what is happening to this show? Is this even a show? How many people are watching right now? I don't know. 5 concurrent viewers. So thanks, all 5 of you. And boy, it drops off sharply at some point. What's the most we've had? 13. No, the most we've had was 16. Thank you, everyone, for leaving. That's the way I look at it. Like, oh, we've had 9 people, 11 people leave. All right, I'm going to write this down. Dylan, get ready to call in the next time we have a call in. Get ready because we're going to do this thing. Top ideas for goal. Top 10 theme songs. We talked about that. During the Kent, you know what? That hasn't even been published because I'm a terrible editor. Lucas, I'm sorry. I'm putting my in quotes. Can't have nothing. Can't even have a pen that writes. All right, in quotes, my super hero. That's a great topic of discussion. Like, what do you expect from, quote unquote, your version of a character? You know, what do you, and when you talk about the comics, when you talk about the comic book situation, you know, so many of these characters span decades. So yeah, what version are you thinking of? You know, you go back to the beginning of Batman, he's completely different than he looks today. Y'all, I'm being so sharp. I got a metal straw with a silicone tip on it. Environment. All right, back to the figure here. Wolverine. I haven't opened him just because I'm not the biggest Wolverine fan. I've got a Wolverine up there I like. But I do like this version of the costume. The kind of orangish tan and brown. But the thing is, if you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it here the way, but like he's got the claws coming back, so it kind of looks weird on camera. But these plastic claws get really bent up, and it just kind of looks weird when you have him displayed. But what's cool about this is he has the hood in the down position that you can kind of strap in behind this head here. So it's like he's got his head pulled back, his hood pulled back. I haven't opened him just because, like I say, I've got 2 Wolverines up on a display shelf right now as it is. And I have in a box in the closet, it's in the packaging that came in, the first appearance Wolverine that came, not the first, yeah, he was the first appearance Wolverine because it's from Hulk 181. With that Hulk, it was like the Marvel 80th anniversary collection or whatever the case was. And I'm telling you, you got it, Dylan. I'll give you a heads up on that, buddy. Thanks. I'll definitely give you a heads up on that. The Hulk is one of the best Marvel Legends Hulks they've made. Let me see. I don't want to get up. Yeah, I'd knock up like a 30,000 figures over if I tried to pick him up. But he is a great Hulk. We'll have to pull him out. I want to show off a lot of Hulk figures one of these days. What else is over in here? Speaking of Hulk figures, there's some in there. But anyhow, yeah. So this Wolverine, I get confused as to if I'm on camera or not. So yeah, I got a lot of these things. Stark. These are stands that came with the Toy Biz versions of the Marvel Legends. Toy Biz did the Marvel Legends first, and so I got a lot of stands in here. Oh, goody! These guys are in here. This is fun, and this is something I recently came into possession of. Are these figures? This is the Leader. Now, Marvel Legends Hasbro just recently released a couple of months back a version of the Leader, which I have. Don't it? Did I never get the Leader? I thought I did. Maybe he's down in here. By the way, hold what you got, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Sorry. No, that's a Galactus leg. That's not funny, Steve. Here's something fun. Bringing it back to Star Wars real quick. This is C-3PO and R2-D2. It's a bank. I don't know if there's money in that or not, but yeah, I wonder if it's. Oh, Lord! I got to turn the volume down. We can't be having that. Oh my gosh! I was talking, but you couldn't hear me. That bank is so loud. I didn't think the button still worked, but I turned it down because I didn't want to get copyright stricken. But I mean, what does it matter? I'm not monetized. So anyhow, yeah, I was talking and you couldn't hear me, and I got confused with what was up there. This is. Oh my gosh, why is his arm so weird? Come on, man. Why is his shoulder turned that way? There we go. Put your arm down, man. Don't be so strange. And why is your hand like that? Anyhow, this is the Leader. This is a Toy Biz version of the Leader. It came in a 2-pack with a Hulk, and it was called the Face Off pack. And they did Hulk and the Leader. They did Daredevil and Kingpin. They did Spider-Man and Captain America and Baron Zemo. And also, I think, wow, his legs are warped. Look at that. He's been sitting under something heavy. I want to have to heat him up and, hello, my honey. I've got to heat him up and get that straightened out. So, anyhow, you'll notice he's got a flat top. They did and so that what they had with those face-off is they had your standard, then they'd have a chase figure of them. So like the Daredevil and Kingpin, you had Kingpin. I don't think his suits were different colors. I think he just had like a different head on each one in the same way that the Leader does. But Captain America came with Red Skull or Baron von Strucker or somebody, and it was a completely different villain in one of them. But this is the Leader the way that he was throughout the late 80s and early 90s. Jiffy Pop head is what he gets called, where his brain is actually, instead of like growing up tall, it grows out like this. So, was that the Raptor just now? I don't get it, Dylan. So, anyhow, these were Toy Biz versions, and they came with this Hulk. And, well, he's so hunched over and everything. This Hulk came with Tall Head Leader. This guy. And the thing is like you can see this hand has no articulation necessarily in the hand except for just a little, except for the wrist. And then his fingers do move, these four move. But what are you going to do with that hand like that? Like what? Hope not, no. And then this hand kind of makes a bit of a fist, but not really. Not when you really see what's truly going on there. Oh, I'm going to the wrong hand. good night. I get confused looking at the camera. Don't you really see what's going on there? But anyhow, but then the Jiffy Pop head came, same body on the Hulk, just a different face there. You see, he's got his mouth open, and he came with a Jiffy Pop head guy. Here we go. This is cool. I was just talking about the original Toy Biz figures. His noggin looks like... Careful now, Justin B. I have to prove that, but I'm not going to, I don't think. This is the this is when they came, those 4-inch figures, 1990. Marvel. Toy Biz made them, and the Hulk had, you could see how his arms pull together. There was a metal bar that you put in either one, and then he had a rock that he could hold on to as well, and you could make him, you could pick the rock up and throw it. Pick the rock up and throw it. So, but yeah, it's a cool Hulk there. A little dark. And so this is, I mean, and look, I didn't get into the Secret Wars figures back in the 80s. I just wasn't into, the only superheroes I was really into during that time was Super Friends. And I was just all about Star Wars and He-Man and Transformers. And so I wasn't familiar with the Secret Wars comics. There wasn't really a Marvel cartoon on at the time. And so I just kind of missed out on those guys. And so these were kind of the first superhero figures I had, because I came after the day I came into the world, you know, and into the toy world after the days of Mego. Did I pull that guy out? Here we go. This is a Toy Biz Wolverine that I was kind of excited to get back in the day because of he's in this particular costume. And I guess I could open up the other Wolverine to do a comparison, but I won't do that right now because, let's be honest, this has been the most boring YouTube video ever. Hey, Steve's looking through a box. I remember when I thought it would be a good idea. Yeah. So let me just keep doing it. There's a lot more just bits and bobbles down here at the bottom of this thing. I'm trying to see if there's anything cool to really grab. I tell you what, they also just released, Hasbro did, they released images of Cyborg Spider-Man. Now you might say, Steve, what's Cyborg Spider-Man? Well, there was a moment in, not the return of the Sinister Six, but the revenge of the Sinister Six, where Spider-Man teamed up with Deathlock, and he had to get outfitted with some cyborg parts from Deathlock. And there's a cool cover with both of them together. Let's see here. Let's pull this image up. Well, you know what? Let me do this. Let me make sure I get a large picture. Tell them Large Marge sent you. Let me make sure I get a large picture here of it, because... And the problem is, I think this is going to end up being like a Toy Biz, like a Target exclusive, you know? And like there's some people who already say they have it and they're already selling it for like $45 or something. I don't know. Let's see. No, that's not a good picture. I'd really like a good picture of the old Cyborg Spider-Man, and I can't find one. Anyway, yeah, and so I've never really cared for Deathlock. Here's the picture of it from the actual comic. This comes to us courtesy of... Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. This comes to us courtesy of io.wp.com, the Fanboy SEO. And this is... Let me pull that up for everybody to see here. I don't know why I did a funny voice just then, and it wasn't even a funny voice. It was just a stupid voice, and I apologize. So you can see Deathlock and Spider-Man there. It's the revenge of the Sinister Six. And you can see, like, he's got the eyepiece, he's got his arm hooked up. They all had pouches around the waist in the 90s. And And so, yeah, it's just you know, to have, and they did this figure on a retro card, or on in the 90s and stuff. They did the Spider-Man, and back in the day, the first ever um, build a figure was Galactus in the Toy Biz line. And I never really cared for Deathlock. I was never a big fan of that character. To me, he was just one more of those characters that came around kind of in the 90s that was trying to, play off the popularity of people like the Punisher and be all edgy and everything. But I bought him because I was hoping to get all of the parts for Galactus. And so that's him. That's Cyborg from the Toy Biz line. As you can tell, I've forsaken the light box completely. The best laid plans of mice and men, ladies and gentlemen. And so I've always I don't have any reason to display him. I don't care about him. But if I get that Cyborg Spider-Man, suddenly I can recreate this cover. And I'm down like a clown, Charlie Brown, to do that. I think that'd be very cool to have up there on the shelf. So I go back to what I said earlier. I'm just a sucker for action figures, I guess. Because there'll be action figures that I'm like, I don't really care for that. I don't need that. And then I'll be like, you know what? I kind of do. And I'll have myself talked out of it. The hardest thing lately has been the He-Man Origins figures. Man, they're just on the shelf at Walmart. They're all available, and it's like, I just want them, but I don't have anywhere to put them, and I don't need to be spending that money, and so it's just crazy. This is a Hulk figure that's actually from the Hulk movie, not The Incredible Hulk, but Hulk, starring Eric Bana. Obviously not the greatest movie ever, but it was what it was. And when you had been wanting the Hulk to be on the big screen, and you finally getting it, gosh, it was disappointing, and I guess this goes back to my version of a comic book character versus anyone else. But I'm not alone in my assessment of being disappointed. And honestly, the problem wasn't that I didn't like the characterization of the Hulk. The problem was everybody whispered, It's like, hey, y'all speak up so people can hear you. You got something to say it. But man, that was a whispering bunch of people in that movie. So hold on a second. Let's see if I can back this up and get him more under the light. Let's see if that helps a little bit. I tell you, if I was shooting down, there's a hole up top that I could have been shooting down into. But did I do that? No. There was another light I could have put on and kind of shined in there, but did I do that? No, why would I do that? I've got it all figured out. I'm Steve, So yeah, so that's an Eric Bana Hulk. You know what? I really want a Rick Jones Trophy Room Wolverine figure. Yeah, that'd be cool, Justin. That would be cool. Ang Lee thought comic book panels on the movie screen was... You know what? Here's the thing. You got to give it... Ang Lee, honestly, yeah, I don't like the comic book transition panels in that movie, but it was something different. And it's one of the things that I heard a lot of people who weren't necessarily comic book fans talk about, how they thought that was a really cool way to do transitions in that movie. So, I don't know. The Hulk himself in that movie, I don't think holds up from I don't know. Like there's not a lot of skin texture. He looks very rubbery. But man, it was so cool to see the Hulk jump, like leap miles at a time, like he does in the comics, to beat up a tank. It was really cool. And then, but you had to slog through so much to get to that moment. And then after that, it was really weird. 3PO doesn't slouch. That's true. So yeah, the problem with these Hulk figures is they don't really fit into the rest of like the Marvel Legends lines or anything. And they didn't when they came out. There was the weird Nick Nolte Absorbing Man figure, that was the villain, and that was about it. They did a line of, just like they did with like the X-Men classics and the Spider-Man classics, that were kind of like Marvel Legends style figures, just just labeled differently. They did some Hulk figures kind of like that, only smaller. Um, I've got a Professor Hulk up on the shelf that's actually Professor Hulk from that line, and then the rest of them just looked weird, and so I kind of passed over them. But there was a an Abomination figure that looked really good, but again, he wasn't in the Marvel Legends scale. I've got a Marvel Legends Abomination somewhere around here. I'm really concerned about that leader because I don't see him on the shelf over there. So I don't really know where he is. Maybe he's down here with the Fantastic Four. Found him. Found him. There he is. The leader. Back to the big head. Back to the big tall head, not the Jiffy Pop head. But he's in that orange suit with like, what are these things? Like, what is this? What is this yellow stuff here? Why has he got that? Why has he got a harness on? Very weird. A lot of Marvel Legends figures to be displayed if I would get up there and display them. But and then a lot of other junk in there. There's this thing, which again I think Cyclops is on the shelf right now. But this was like the X-Men classic stuff, and you could plug Cyclops into this and into these things, and when you turned it a certain, oh Lord, it blows up, and Cyclops' eyes light up. You know what? That's about par for the course. Way to go, Glosson. You knew what you were doing there, pal. Did I do that? Is that the right place for that? Oh Lord, I've messed up. There we go. There we go. There's something that goes on the top there, but I don't know what it is. Anyhow, popped everything off. It's all down there on the floor now. So anyhow, there's a Cyclops over on the shelf that he plugs into that, and so when you turn it a certain way, it causes him to light up. I believe though you've got to have a battery working in there, and it's just not working probably right now. But I didn't think the batteries in the 3PO and R2D2 bank were working either. But lo and behold, I woke the whole house up with them. So I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. Anyone got a question or anything before we go? I don't know why people ask for questions. Did I miss something up here? Nice bank. I had the Vader and Darth Maul. My favorite Marvel figure that I have is a Dark Phoenix from the 90s. I was devastated when my daughter opened up to play with it when she was a toddler. I love to open toys. I think that's the coolest thing. And in fact, I can't think of a better way to end going back a minute. Toy Biz in retrospect seems like a real fly-by-night around the time of the Batman 89 line, repainted superpower molds, etc. Yeah, you know what? That's true. Back to the Batman stuff was kind of the repainted superpowers. That was Kenner that did those, right? Kenner had the superpowers line. Where you at, Lucas? Lucas will know this stuff. Kenner had the superpowers line. Toy Biz. Did Toy Biz do Batman? Did Toy Biz do Batman? Toy Biz Batman. Because the thing is like Toy Biz, yeah, they did, didn't they? Look at that. Toy Biz Batman. Batman Toy Biz action figure line. So I guess they somehow got the molds from Kenner. Had Kenner gone under by this time? I thought Kenner did these things. But yeah, they kind of basically just did a superpowers Batman and a superpowers Joker as well, huh? But when they did the Marvel, like they had to actually do new molds of stuff. There was no way to redo the thing. And in fact, they did. But that brings me back. Oh my gosh, like I'm jumping all over the place. That brings me back to Hasbro had made a 3 3/4 inch thing. Kenner was SP then. Toy Biz did Batman. But then Toy Biz was sold to Marvel. Like Marvel ended up owning Toy Biz eventually. What's your favorite thing about the original Super Friends cartoon? I used to watch it as well and have serious nostalgia for it. Let's wax Super Friends. Emphasize on that, Justin B, is what you're saying. Emphasize on Super Friends. My favorite thing about the Super Friends cartoon was just seeing all of these superheroes together. And quite frankly, it did not get better than Challenge of the Super Friends. Challenge of the Super Friends had super villains, and that was so cool to me to see all these villains around the table plotting against our heroes, because um, that was, I mean, that's what you wanted to see. You didn't want to see them, like confronting a bunch of characters from Venus. Like you. This image comes to us courtesy of I can't tell where, so I'm sorry. Um, but when you've got, look, in the intro. I mean, I'm sorry, the intro music. I use it for the Geek Out Loud stuff, for crying out loud. Um, I don't think it gets better than the intro music. And then when you got to the the legendary Superpowers show, that was really right in my wheelhouse as a child of the 80s, because the earlier Super Friends stuff was all in the 70s. And so even Challenge of the Super Friends I only saw in in syndication. But man, the Superpower show, the legendary Superpower show, and eventually Galactic Guardians, which was the last incarnation of the Super Friends, I believe, was, I mean, that was my jam. Like seriously, you just didn't get better than all of those people teaming up. And in fact, that's what brought me to the JLA later on, in the 90s, when Grant Morrison came about with the JLA, in DC Comics, the JLA. The cover of Grant Morrison's JLA #1 was literally the Super Friends for the 90s. It was this amazing cover that had, you know, Superman, Batman and Woman, Batman and Robin. Well, it didn't have Robin. It was Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. It had those characters. And I remember when I saw it, it was, obviously it was late 90s. I was in Virginia at the time. It must have been around 98. Um, and I saw it, and I literally said out loud, "This is Super Friend of the Night. This is Super Friends for the 90s." I literally said that out loud. Um, Green Lantern, Flash. Look at this cover. Aquaman, looking like these were the 90s versions of these characters. And they just looked absolutely stunning. And at the time, I didn't know who Martian Manhunter was. He's just back there doing his thing. And I'm like, I don't know who that green guy is, but I kind of recognize the Green Lantern, kind of recognize the Flash. And it became for me, because I hadn't been in DC Comics, it became for me a gateway into DC Comics. And it's what caused me to get caught up on everything that was going on. Grant Morrison, if you've not read at least the first issue, the first 5 issues, the first story arc with the invasion of the White Martians, I mean, look, that's some of the best comic book reading you'll do. There are moments where you just learn. Now, granted, Grant Morrison is the guy who made Batman like, no one could outsmart him. He's unstoppable, all that stuff. Let's see. Darkseid was later on Super Friends. He was.
And he talked like this, like, I'm Dr. Claw. I'm Dr. Claw, and I will get you Super Friends.
And that was the Galactic Guardians. They didn't do Boom Tubes. They did Star Tubes on that. I don't know why Boom Tube was such a bad... I guess because they didn't want to end up saying Boob Tube. But anything else here? So anyhow, back to the question. My favorite thing about the original Super Friends cartoon, I love the intro music. I love seeing all those characters together. I love when it comes to like those original... Excuse me. When it comes to those original episodes with like Marvin, Wendy, and Wonder Dog, to me, there's such an innocence to it, and they've been criticized, in as much as like, well, every voice, you could just change the voice and every character is the same. Yeah, you know what? They're all heroic. They're all superheroes. They all got along. I remember how jarring it was to me to read a comic and find out that, in the late 80s and into the 90s, Superman and Batman weren't besties. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Why are they ruining the why are they ruining the fun of comic books? But Grant Morrison's JLA, man, that'll do it. That'll give you those Super Friends nostalgia. Um, and look, the animation models of the Super Friends are going to be the first things that I conjure up in my head when I think of those characters. A lot of times, they just everything kind of spins out on how close to those character models does what we have look today. So yeah, I love the Super Friends back in the day. Love Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends. And really, when you go back and watch Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, there's a lot more. There's a lot. You know what? I'll say this for old Stan Lee and company and Marvel. With Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, they were making sure that you knew there was a whole universe out there. And they did it again in the animated stuff in the 90s. Before they finally figured out how to do it on the big screen with people. So, Marvel has always been gearing up to do that. And unfortunately, DC and Warner Brothers could never get their stuff together. Now with AT&T kind of controlling DC, man, things aren't looking good for our heroes. It honestly, I kind of shudder to think of this in a lot of ways. It would not surprise me to see, oh yeah, Amazing Company, Electric Company, Spider-Man. Spider-Man, where are you coming from? Spider-Man, nobody knows who you are. Yeah, I remember Spidey on the. But I tell you, I always go back to honestly, for me, it was the 66 Spider-Man in syndication. That was 66, not 66, 68. Anyhow, the cartoon Spider-Man from the 60s. Is it 1968 or 1969? Spider-Man, 1968, Spider-Man cartoon. Let's see. 67. I was all over it. Couldn't quite hit it. It was that Spider-Man because they played it on our local station in syndication in the afternoon some. I remember during the summer I would watch that. And I always thought it was cool. Like cool because I didn't know anything about animation, but the web, they always made the web to me look like a rope when he'd come swinging right at camera on that show and everything. That was where I first saw Mysterio as a kid. And Mysterio is to this day one of my favorite Spider-Man villains just because of the way he looks. Scott Rifkin was like, well, Mysterio's a great one-off character. Like, you can beat him one time and that's it. All it takes is one time. And I absolutely disagree with Scott Rifkin on that. Mysterio being like this master of illusion, he was a special effects guru, that sort of thing. Him being like a master of illusion and all of the different things, the effect that his mist would have on Spider-Man's webs and his spider sense was just it made him a foe to be reckoned with for sure. And so that is that's one of those things that, like, again, love Rifin, but man, it's like, Scott, you're wrong. You're wrong, Mr. Coach Klein. No, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders. So I've messed up here though. I opened him up in the wrong tab. I have a picture of Mysterio I want to show you all. But alas, poor Mysterio. I knew you well. All right, here we go. We'll pull him up here. Nope. There we go. All right, there we go. Mysterio. Nobody knows who. But like, dude, like, I know, like, people make fun of him because of fishbowl head and all that stuff. But I'm telling you what, the whole thing of Mysterio, just what is under that head? Like, that was the thing when you first see him. It's like, what is under there? What is under his helmet? What is under that fishbowl? What is going on with him? What's going on with you, Mysterio? And this picture comes to us courtesy of images.complex.com. and he, like, I didn't, as a kid, of course, I don't know his origins. Um, I don't know his backstory and everything. I just know that, man, here's a really cool looking cat that that affects Spider-Man's Spidey sense. He does that stuff dissolves Spider-Man's webbing. He can make all of these different things appear to be, you know, there that aren't there. He's got this whole special effects control going and everything. It is a really just a um, super cool character to me. And I think that, the whole deal for me is when he when he shows up, you don't know what's real and you don't know what's fake, and you just have to, you have to trust your Spidey sense, or you're in trouble. Dylan says, "Do I think they pulled off his portrayal in the MCU?" Um, they definitely got the look. I, you know what? I hope he's not dead. Um, I do hope he's not dead. I hope that that there is somehow to come back. But if he's dead, I'm okay. I did like his portrayal. Um, here's the thing about the MCU, and I got to be careful. I know I got to tread lightly with the MCU. The fact that everything comes back to Tony Stark gets a little tedious to me. Um, if I have a criticism of Tom Holland as Spider-Man, it's that he is more Iron Boy than Spider-Man. And and that's fine. I mean, it's a great entrance. It's a great gateway um, into the MCU for Spider-Man, to have him be kind of a protege of Tony Stark. But I don't think it's an illegitimate criticism when people have a problem with him being um, so tightly linked to Tony. And everything ends up being so tightly linked to Tony. Ultron was created by Tony in the MCU. Ultron's created by Hank Pym in the comics. Um, and so Tony becomes kind of this, and I know, he's the first one, he's the linchpin of it and everything. But man, I loved his look in the MC Mysterio, back to Mysterio in the MCU. Forget they tied him into Tony Stark and everything. I Yeah, I thought he looked great. I'm glad that they went for the full fishbowl helmet look, and they gave it a reason. They made it work. Um, the whole color scheme was pretty much there. I thought I really dug it. To me, you just can't go wrong. He's one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and I'm not ashamed of that. And again, he's one of those that has become kind of a punchline, unfortunately. Speaking of, let's go to the light box, ladies and gentlemen. As we show you, when I talk about a Spider-Man figure on a retro card, this is what kind of we're talking about here. Is this thing? This is like the '90s Spider-Man action figures. I never really collected any of them. I bought a Venom in the '90s. Not that I was a Venom fan, but I'm like, if anything is going to be worth money, it's Venom. But this is the 6-inch Mysterio on a retro card. And he's really just a repaint of the Marvel Legends Mysterio that came out a couple of years back. And I believe the Lizard Build-A-Figure wave, that is the figure, honestly, that got me back into Marvel Legends, is the Mysterio figure they put out. And when I saw they were coming out with him, I had to have it. I don't know that Marvel Legends ever did another Mysterio figure. This is such a great looking figure to me, though, and Mysterio being one of my favorites. Could someone answer that question for me? Did Hasbro, had they done a Mysterio until just a year or so back? Excuse me while I take a sip of water. I've only been going for 2 hours. Nobody watches 2-hour YouTube videos. I'm an idiot. This is the dumbest thing I could ever do. Golly. Remember when we used to hang out on Mixler? Mixler.com/Goliverse for all the podcasts? We'd hang out till like 1 and 2 in the morning. We're not doing that. Oh my gosh, it's already midnight where I am. But after midnight, we're going to let it all hang down. You know what that means? That means, ladies and gentlemen, yours truly is about to open an action figure. Let's see what the best way to do this is going to be. I'm going to do that. Shaz Bazaar has turned me into a proponent of cutting the bubble. These cards really kind of fool you because the bubble is tucked into the card in a way, and so you feel like maybe I can get it out easy. You can't. You gotta rip that mess. But that's fine. I am an opener, and I hope that some collectors are absolutely going nuts right now. I love to open an action figure. I don't mind telling you that. And I know all this up here makes it seem like I'm a hypocrite. Some action... Oh my gosh, this has a great plastic toy smell. Oh my. Can you smell that? It smells like new toys. Y'all, as this thing opened up, there was a whiff of plastic that I've not gotten since the Toy Biz Marvel Legends days. Man, you'd open up, remember that Juggernaut figure they put out in the Toy Biz Marvel Legends? And you'd open that bad boy up, and it smelled like you were in a plastic factory. I'm sorry for all the crinkliness and everything as I take them apart. One thing I'm glad that they don't do so much that they used to do with the Toy Biz is it took an act of Congress to open a Toy Biz a Toy Biz Marvel Legend figure. All right. He's got a hole in his back where his cape plugs in to kind of keep it steady. Here's Mysterio. They've done a great job of like a black wash over these lines to make it stand out. And really, this looks very comic book accurate, from circa the late 80s, early 90s. Todd McFarlane did a great Mysterio, by the way. I think you can take the helmet off. I don't know what's under there. On the other one, there's like a skull face under there. It kind of glows in the dark. I don't think this guy glows. Oh, this is a random head looking weird. Translucent and all. Hi, I'm Translucent Man. Translucent Man will save you. Let me put his head back. That's kind of a creepy look. They also remember they did a chase with the Doctor Doom, like you could find... And you couldn't tell which one you were buying when you bought them on the shelf. And I don't remember which one was which. I think there were more. You could take his mask off and there'd be a face under there, or there'd be a Doombot under there, and you couldn't tell which was which. Toy Biz would do that mess. So yeah, so here he is. He's got these effects that kind of come with him. I think you like put him around his feet or something, maybe. Put him around his legs and feet. I know that this is on the other Mysterio, and it really kind of helps stabilize him and helps him stand up. So I am pro having these things on him because they do indeed offer him, he said, and then couldn't get him to stand up. Okay. I'm going to have him reaching out. Touching you. Hand. Touching hand. Don't get copywritten. Copy struck. Yeah, I don't know how to pose these guys, so I'll put that hand down there like that. I'll put this hand out there like that, like, ooh, I am Mysterio. All right, let's get you in there. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that, Mysterio. That's a good looking figure right there. I really dig it. Like, I like the fact that like the pajama lines come out on his clothes and everything. I should have pulled. Where's that other Mysterio? Yeah. The other Mysterio figure has kind of a bit of a texture to him, rather than the lines and everything. This really does remind me a lot of Obviously, it's meant to look like the animated series Mysterio, who had the lines and stuff. Let me come back over here to me real quick for that. You can see I've got a glare on the bubble there, but yeah, he's got like the lines going across his outfit and everything. And so this is meant to not be as detailed, but man, that black wash on there really makes those lines stand out, and it really does add some great detail to it. I really like that figure. It's a good looking figure. I am. I love action figures, man. It's a weird thing to be 43 years old and like, hey, look at my toys, everybody. But it's just one of those things that, like, honestly, when I get in here messing around with these things, it really does bring me a lot of happiness. I enjoy it a lot. And when you get to open a figure like that, listen, I'm going to tell you, I know that, in the collecting world, it's like, oh, it has to be mint on card, mint on card. There is not a lot that brings the happiness of opening an action figure. There's just not out there. Like, there's a lot of things that'll make you a little bit happy, but there's nothing that will kind of that matches up to I am opening an action figure and it is fun. So anyhow, I mean, like, really, Dylan says it the best. He says opening figure is the best. And I really agree. And that's why I'm looking for, I tell you, I'm looking forward to those Mandalorian Retro Wave, because I've got a vintage Cantina playset that they're going to look great in, I mean, it's just kind of, it fits them perfectly. And I can't wait to open those things up and have them on display in there. So, well, gang, thanks so much. And look, thanks so much to 100 or 200 plus subscribers. I can't see here exactly how many I've got. Let me open in another. No. I need to, I don't know how many I've got, but I can look and see real quick. Let me look and see. I can't tell how many subscribers I got. 228 subscribers, almost 230 subscribers. And that's huge. And I mean, the other night we just needed a few to get to 200. And I went in the Guardians of the Golaverse Facebook group and just posted it. And before I know it, man, we were at 220. And so thank you all so much for joining us and being a part of this. I do want to do fancy, fun things with the Golaverse, with the Geek Out Loud YouTube page. I don't want it all to take 2 hours, of course. I'm still learning the ropes. I'm still figuring everything out. We do Back to the Wax Packs, myself and Lucas, and have a great time doing that. I hope you guys can join us live for that. It really is like a podcast more than anything when we do this stuff. And you know me, I don't do podcasts that go 15 minutes. Settle in. To check your short attention span at the door when you come into a Geek Out Loud situation, because we're going to have a good time together when we do these things. So, that does wrap it up for us here on this. Please email geekoutonline@gmail.com, geekoutonline@gmail.com. If you are watching this and you're like, what in the world is this idiot doing? And you sat here through the whole show just looking at toys out of a box with me, check out the podcast, Geek Out Loud. And we have a whole family of podcasts we do. But you can find out about those by going to geekoutpodcast.com. Or wherever you get your podcast at. You should be able to find Geek Out Loud in the Golaverse family of shows. Also, if you want to support us at Patreon, patreon.com/geekoutloud. We appreciate everyone who supports us over there. We've got some movies that we still need to watch together at patreon.com. The Big Honkin' Show gets posted over there. What's the Big Honkin' Show, Steve? The Big Honkin' Show is the morning show we do on radio down in Brunswick, Georgia. It airs weekly, and we put out the show the week following its airing on the weekend on the Patreon. And over at BigHonkinShow.com, we're posting old episodes of the Big Honkin' Show after we had a server mishap a couple years back and never quite fully recovered from that. So, and that's really what this is. This is us all trying to recover and figure out what Geek Out Loud is from here on out. I was just sitting there. I forgot I was on camera. And I was just sitting there messing with a toy while I'm talking. So, thanks so much for hanging out with us, everyone. And Until next time, I'm Steve Glosson, and we will see you around the Golaverse. Have a good one, everybody.